I think part of the problem when it comes to arguments about Star Wars boils down to a conflict in what Star Wars fans want out of the franchise. I see it most exemplified in how people talk about the Clone Wars and various pieces of non-movie media, or in regards to the sequel trilogy and how people talk about it. One side of Star Wars fandom wants, for lack of a better term, the spiritual, the philosophical, the parts of Star Wars that are about the message. Luminous beings are we. Fear leads to anger, and anger leads to hate. The greatest teacher failure is, etc. A lot of the plot points, or even some of the logical decisions, don't matter as much as what you get out of it. The lessons that are taught, how these characters interact with each other, and how they build the future or view the past. The other side of the fandom cares less about the themes of Star Wars and more about the story of Star Wars. To them, Star Wars is a vast universe full of politics, battles, wars, negotiations, alien cultures, and various players who practice magic or smuggle for criminals or join/battle mighty empires. They want to see the next chapter, see what exciting new characters will come about, who will fail in their missions and who will succeed. But especially if they've grown attached to some characters, to see them fall so far is unsatisfying and insulting after the journeys they saw them go through. But regardless, they want to see the story unfold, and if any characters they grew to love before are back and helping out the new characters. While I find myself leaning towards the former camp, the truth is that Star Wars is both. As with the Force itself, it's about balance. Your message means nothing if your story is crap, and your story is uninteresting without the message. And I think the thing that's bothering people about all the Star Wars shows is that they have been leaning more towards one side, the story, than the other. Introduce a character in one show, give them a spin-off. Grab a familiar character from the movies, they get their own show. More story, more lore, another chapter. But while it's good to see them and the show itself is entertaining and fun and enjoyable, it doesn't have the same meaning to it that the original movies had. If you're having trouble understanding this divide, it all comes down to how you feel about the lightsaber. Are you with the writers who say, this weapon is your life, and a Jedi's weapon should be treated with more respect? Or are you the type who'd toss that tube of junk away because wars not make one great? Some will argue that The Last Jedi is all meaning, but a bad story. That as the next chapter for several of these characters' arcs, it doesn't work or betrays what came before. Some will argue that Force Awakens is a good story, but has no meaning. It's about continuing the next chapter and filling it with references and callbacks. The continuity is maintained, but you don't get any message from it like you have before. Now, I don't agree with those assessments, especially not for Last Jedi, but that's where the divide is coming in. Why some people are just not getting anything out of the Star Wars shows, while others are so glad to see continuations of the things they love. Or they're just making hourly videos where they scream that the wokes ruined their childhood, but I feel like those are an outlier.